Beneath a silent hill in Shaanxi province, China, lies a secret that has been strictly guarded by the earth for more than 2,000 years. This is not merely a grave, but a magnificent subterranean replica of an empire, complete with thousands of soldiers ready for battle and deadly traps awaiting anyone brave enough to disturb its peace. We know the figure inside as the unifier of China, but the world knows him as the emperor, who was obsessed with conquering death itself. To this day, the main door of his tomb remains sealed, not because we lack the ability to open it, but because we are too terrified of what lies behind it. Welcome to an in-depth exploration of the mystery of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb. Before we dig deeper into this buried history, make sure you have hit the subscribe button and turned on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our journeys through time on this channel. Let us begin. Beneath a silent hill in Shaanxi province, China, lies a secret that has been strictly guarded by the earth for more than 2,000 years. This is not merely a grave, but a magnificent subterranean replica of an empire, complete with thousands of soldiers ready for battle and deadly traps awaiting anyone brave enough to disturb its peace. We know the figure inside as the unifier of China, but the world knows him as the emperor who was obsessed with conquering death itself. To this day, the main door of his tomb remains sealed, not because we lack the ability to open it, but because we are too terrified of what lies behind it. Welcome to an in-depth exploration of the mystery of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb. Before we dig deeper into this buried history, make sure you have hit the subscribe button in the shadows of a dark history. Before China became the great entity it is today, the land was torn apart by chaos that lasted for hundreds of years. This period is known as the Warring States era. Amidst the clashing of swords and the dust of war, a boy named Ying was born. Born in exile as a political hostage, his childhood was filled with threats of assassination and betrayal. These traumatic experiences would later shape the character of a ruler who was deeply paranoid, yet possessed a vision that far exceeded his time. When Ying ascended the throne of the Qin kingdom at the age of 13, he inherited not just a kingdom, but a massive ambition to end the bloodshed by conquering all his rivals. One by one, the 6 other kingdoms bowed before the unstoppable roar of the Qin war chariots. In 221 BC, for the first time in history, the land of China was united under one leadership. He discarded the title of king and declared himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of the Qin dynasty. However, this unification came at a high price. To maintain stability, he implemented extremely strict legalist laws. He burned thousands of philosophy books considered rebellious and buried scholars alive who dared to criticize him. For Qin Shi Huang, order could only be achieved through absolute control, and that control must not end simply because of physical death. From his first day in office, the project to build his tomb began, a project that would become a lifelong obsession. This tomb complex, located at the foot of Mount Li, is not just a hole in the ground. It is an underground city that mirrors the Qin capital Zheneng. Based on historical records and modern geophysical scans, the complex is divided into 2 parts, the inner city and the outer city. The total area reaches 56 square kilometers, equivalent to thousands of football fields. Imagine 700,000 workers, ranging from skilled craftsmen to convicts and slaves, working day and night for nearly 4 decades. They carved stone, fired clay, and dug giant trenches. Archaeologists had found that many workers who died during the construction process were simply buried around the site, becoming human foundations for the emperor's grandeur. The silence of this tomb was built upon the suffering of millions. At the heart of this complex lies a 50-meter-high earthen mound resembling a pyramid. It is beneath this mound that the main burial chamber is located. Sima Qian, a historian from the Han Dynasty, described the interior of the tomb with astounding detail. He wrote that the ceiling of the tomb was made of copper plates, studded with jewels and pearls to represent the constellations of the night sky. On the floor below was a giant map of the entire Qin territory, complete with mountains made of precious stones and rivers that flowed. One of the most spectacular discoveries on the outskirts of the tomb is the array of thousands of clay soldiers known as the Terracotta Army. However, it is important to understand that this army was merely the outer garrison tasked with guarding the perimeter. If the exterior is already this grand, imagine what is stored inside the main chamber of the tomb that has yet to be opened. The Terracotta Warriors are a testament to ancient manufacturing sophistication. Each statue has a unique face. No two faces are exactly the same. Researchers suspect that each statue was carved based on an actual soldier from the Emperor's personal army. They have different mustaches, hairstyles, and eye expressions, ranging from those who look alert to those who look calm. They are arranged in very accurate combat formations according to the military tactics of the time, complete with infantry, archers, and cavalry leading gallant clay horses. Even more surprising are the weapons they hold. Archaeologists found thousands of swords, spears, and crossbows that are still in excellent condition. After being tested in the laboratory, it was revealed that the bronze weapons were coated with a thin layer of chromium oxide. This is a very advanced rust prevention technology, which was only rediscovered in the modern world in the early 20th century. This proves that Qin Shi Huang had access to metallurgical knowledge far beyond his time, fueling speculation about other technological secrets that might be hidden inside the main tomb. As he aged, Qin Shi Huang's fear of death turned into a paralyzing paranoia. He became obsessed with the legend of the islands of the immortals in the Eastern Sea, which were said to hold an elixir for eternal life. He sent an alchemist named Su Fu, along with thousands of young men and women and hundreds of craftsmen, to find these islands. Legend says that Su Fu never returned, and some believe they landed in Japan and became the ancestors of the people there. In his own palace, the emperor gathered chemists and alchemists to create pills of immortality. Ironically, the pills produced at that time mostly contained liquid mercury. At that time, mercury was considered a magical substance because of its liquid yet heavy nature and its color that sparkled like silver. Qin Shi Huang consumed this mercury regularly, believing that the substance would strengthen his body. In reality, the mercury slowly destroyed his nervous system and organs, causing him to experience hallucinations and uncontrollable rage, before finally dying of heavy metal poisoning at the age of 40. The fear of tomb robbers led Qin Shi Huang to order his engineers to create the most lethal defense systems. Sima Qian noted the existence of automatic crossbow mechanisms, designed to fire arrows at anyone who crossed the corridors leading to the burial chamber. These mechanisms are suspected to use pressure plates on the floor, which, if stepped on, would release very powerful bowstrings. However, the most real and scientifically proven defense is the massive use of mercury. The emperor ordered that replicas of the Yellow River and the Yangtze River inside his tomb be filled with liquid mercury, pumped mechanically so that it would flow forever. Mercury is a highly volatile metal. In a closed space for thousands of years, these mercury vapors would fill the entire atmosphere of the tomb with very lethal concentrations. Soil studies conducted in the 2000s confirmed this. Soil samples taken from various points on the tomb mound showed the presence of very high mercury levels, far above environmental safety thresholds. This is no longer just a legend. The tomb is a real chemical death trap. One breath of air from inside the tomb without special protective equipment could cause instant death or permanent brain damage to archaeologists. There is another reason why this tomb remains sealed: respect and the fear of destroying historical heritage. The Chinese government and the international archaeological community are very cautious. We have seen what happens to other great sites when they are opened in a hurry. Oxygen is the greatest enemy for ancient artifacts that have been buried in an airless, anaerobic environment for thousands of years. A heartbreaking example was the initial excavation of the Terracotta Army. When first found, the statues were coated with very beautiful, colorful paint: purple, red, blue, and yellow. However, in just minutes after being exposed to atmospheric air, the lacquer layer that bound the color pigments dried, peeled off, and crumbled before the eyes of the archaeologists. Scientists were forced to watch thousands of years of beauty vanish simply because of the technological unreadiness of the time. Imagine if the same thing happened to the fine silks, wall paintings, and ancient manuscripts that might be stored inside the main chamber. Without the technology to create a fully controlled atmospheric environment during the excavation process, opening the tomb would be the same as destroying it. We might only find piles of dust from what should be an invaluable world treasure. Even though the physical door remains closed, scientists have not stopped trying to see inside. Non-invasive archaeological techniques have provided an increasingly clear picture. The use of LIDAR light detection and ranging has mapped the entire complexity of the buildings beneath the ground surface, revealing the existence of giant walls and internal structures. that have never been seen before. One of the latest technologies being considered is muon tomography. Muons are subatomic particles that come from outer space and are able to penetrate solid objects. By placing muon detectors around and under the tomb, scientists can create a three-dimensional X-ray of the tomb's contents without having to dig a single inch of soil. Preliminary results from these scans show a very large chamber structure in the middle of the tomb, reinforcing the belief that the emperor's underground palace still stands intact, protected by millions of tons of earth and the ancient traps he prepared. In the end, Qin Shi Huang may have failed to find an elixir to make his physical body live forever. However, in a sense, he succeeded in achieving immortality. More than 2,000 years after his death, he is still the center of world attention. His name continues to be spoken. His tomb continues to be studied, and his army continues to mesmerize humanity. His tomb stands as a monument to the most extreme of human ambitions. It is a symbol of the desire to rule beyond the limits of life. Yet, it is also a reminder that nature and time have their own ways of keeping secrets. The silence that shrouds the tomb in Shaanxi is a final form of respect for a man who unified a nation, yet had to end in toxic loneliness beneath the ground. History is not just about what we find, but also about what we choose to preserve. Perhaps the greatest strength of Qin Shi Huang's tomb lies not in the gold or jewels within it, but in the mystery that continues to spark the human imagination to keep searching, learning, and appreciating the traces of a grand past. Until technology is truly ready, let the emperor rest with his Mercury rivers, under a jeweled sky that never fades with time. Thank you for accompanying this deep journey. If you feel this story changed the way you view history, don't hesitate to hit the like button and share this video with fellow history lovers. Don't forget to subscribe to continue getting high-quality documentary content like this. In your opinion, should this tomb be opened anytime soon, or let it remain an eternal mystery? Write your thoughts in the comments column. See you in the next historical search.